Hello, and welcome back to the Tyler Moore East, where today we're finishing up the hilltop neighborhood of Pfister Heights, and this episode will be dealing shortly with manor houses built around the Pfister Estate, but right now we are building some medical care in the form of a cute Danish country church. Great disguise for a clinic in a posh neighborhood. But not much time spent on that. We're going to be focusing on some estate houses with some detail, not nearly as detailed as the Faruqi estate, because the stories of the other estates haven't really been fleshed out yet. But then after that, we'll be filling out the homes in the neighborhood and have a great city tour in the end of the next episode once everything is all built out. So thank you so much for joining me again today in the Tyler Moore East. Such a pleasure to have you here. All right, so right here we're starting off with the Schmeck place. Schmeck means tasty in German, and the Schmeck family will be owning a chocolate company that is soon to open up in the Pistoria area. And they certainly have a sizable home, so that means their business is going to be quite significant as well. Over here we have the new mayor's mansion built right beside the Pfister estate. And here I am starting to build a new design college up here on the hilltop. It's going to be a sort of franchise of the Bauhaus school in Dessau, Germany. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, they championed art in everyday objects. So they turned silverware into something spectacular, and teapots and light switches and pretty much every everyday thing that you can think of. They designed it into a beautiful piece of artwork that can be accessible to the common folk for a low price. They really highlighted mechanization and production of these things in sort of a factory style in order to create mass-produced artwork that everybody could access. So really a lovely concept and beautiful work, and a great thing to spread their knowledge around the Tyler Moore. So always welcome to have a Bauhaus campus here in the Tyler Moore. And now I'm beginning to plat out some of the streets where the regular family homes will be. I'm trying to scale it down from the grandiose Pfister estate to one row of blocks of large estate homes like the mayor's mansion here, and the Schmeck place house, and Faruqi estate, down to across the street where we'll have much smaller manor homes that are still large, fancy homes, but more the type that you would see in a standard neighborhood. They fit on a regular lot size, but they're still big and fancy, just without the estate around it. And here's where I decide Schmeck Place is going to settle, giving them a big driveway, but as I said, I'm not going to do a whole lot of detailing of the yard just yet. There needs to be more of a story behind the Schmeck family before everything gets polished off. The mayor's mansion, however, the yard will be finished up, and we have one more manor house to build here for an unnamed media mogul. That's going to be plopped right in the center, and they will have a beautiful driveway as well. Thought a nice little tower would work well, but I decided just to choose an estate house for the next one that had a tower that incorporated into its design already, and make a nice little flower garden in the front driveway this estate is also going to get a very substantial fence because media moguls are always in the spotlight, and they should probably have some form of protection around their home so that the people who don't like their brand of media don't bother them when they are at home. I'm going to use PO to make a great gateway into the driveway. Now this won't be functional, so when the garbage trucks come and go, they are going to drive right through the gate. Unfortunately, there are assets on the Steam Workshop with animated gates that you can set up, but they are I don't have it in my collection, and it's going to be quite a thing for me to learn how to develop. So for one family's driveway, I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned way and tuck things in nicely to make it look clean and neat, and really comes off pretty well. Apart from the gates not opening and closing, I think it turned out just fine. Putting the brick pillars on every corner for consistency and just to make it look a little bit more polished. Giving the Schmeck family a really beautiful artistic wrought iron, sort of a park fence. I believe it's meant to be a balustrade for, say, a balcony, but I think it works just fine for a chocolate maker's yard fence. Takes some finagling, but it is well worth it in the end when everything looks finished and right. I'm going to put some hedges along here just to sort of make a statement when you come in, just the way that the Media Mogul's house has the brick pillars. The Schmeck family will have fluffy, lovely hedges. And now to deck out the mayor's yard, I'm trying to find a fence that is sculptural and beautiful, but also something that's a bit more modern, because this is the mayor's mansion. It's something that is always in the public spotlight. It is paid for by taxpayers. It should be kept up nicely, and it should be kept up to date and modern. So this lovely, sustainable, curved wooden fence is going to go along here with some good privacy trees along the inside perimeter. Great, and a nice wide driveway so that tourists will be able to circle around as they go to tour and take their snapshots of the mayor's mansion. Here's that lovely flower garden I mentioned I was going to make. I'm going to include a few fountains in the middle. Really, just a small touch to make it look very opulent and well cared for. And I've got to have my pampas grass. I really miss those pampas grass bushes throughout the winter. I typically pepper them all over my builds. So as spring is coming in now, be prepared for the pampas grass to take over. Just a couple more manor houses here, the smaller ones across the street now, where it will be a bit more realistic. These are more like, at least in my neighborhood, the type of mansion that I would see. Something of this size and grandeur, not a castle per se, but a big, huge, oversized house that I really hope is filled with children and in-laws, because otherwise it's kind of a crime in a housing shortage to have a big house like this and 2 people with a couple designer dogs. Ugh. One thing these lovely homes need is an access to the sidewalk. And it's a good thing I've put these down, because just as soon as I put in one path over here, you'll see everybody starts walking up it just in time for the new occupants to move in. There we go. Hopefully the concrete was dry before the movers walked in with their boots, trekking wet concrete through the new house. Alright, we're pretty much done with most of the manor build out here. We're going to start doing a bit of detailing, checking to make sure everything is named appropriately and traffic systems are working. Interesting to mention, once we have a whole neighborhood built out up here, we are going to end up with a bus system coming up that takes us straight down to the Pistoria downtown bus station. Time to lay out the neighborhood grid where the family homes will be. I'm spacing them out further apart than I would in the city core. That way everybody's going to have space for a lovely backyard, and we're going to devise a system up here of public laneways behind the homes, sprinkled with private yards and parks. It's really going to be a lovely model. I'm going to try my best to replicate it throughout a few different neighborhoods that will come to life throughout the Tyler Moor. A lot of tedious fence and hedge work, but it really polishes things off nicely and makes the whole neighborhood and build look much more realistic and much more worth my time. Alright, that just about wraps it up for this brief episode. Be sure to tune in to the next one coming up shortly, where we will continue the building out of Pfister Heights, and you'll get to see a little bit of Riviera Beach and the new beach communities that are beginning to spring up right where Tharpton meets Pistoria, in the first development in Tharpton. All that coming up next here on the Merry Tyler Moor East. Thank you so much for joining me. Check back soon. I hope to see you again. Take care, and bye-bye.